All right, literacy class, we are working on some more Fablehaven today. I'm sorry, last week was so crazy. I was going to do a couple videos and then I only got that one up there. So we are reading chapter 15, Satirical Assistant. So sounds like the satyrs might be helping today. Let's find out. Okay. Seth sat across the table from Kendra looking totally shell-shocked. After he had told Kendra about the cocoon and passing through Olak, remember he came out the back end, she had explained how Vanessa had been revealed while he was absent. So Vanessa was controlling Coulter, he said? That's why he suddenly seemed so disoriented. He woke up with the Revenant right on top of us, and he still managed to save me. Yeah, if we fall asleep, she may be able to control us, Kendra said. Because, listen. How? He picked up another cookie from the plate Kendra had left at the center of the table. She had discovered the cookies in the cupboard. Since she's a narcoblix, I think the Drummets were a diversion so she could bite us in the night without anybody worrying about the marks. You were bitten by Drummets, and so was I. So was Coulter. So was Tanu. But who knows if those bites were actually Drummets? I'll bet you're right, Seth said, munching on the cookie. You know, I fell asleep inside the cocoon a couple of times, once for quite a while. She might know I'm still alive. Yeah, to be safe, we better not fall asleep until we solve this problem, Kendra said. So, when you fall asleep, if she bit you, then she could control you in your sleep. And remember how her eyes were kind of rolled back in her head when Kendra poured that water on her? And that's what made Coulter wake up because Vanessa woke up from controlling him. Crazy. You look tired, Seth said. Your eyes are getting bloodshot. Vanessa gave me a sleeping drug yesterday, and I slept most of the day. But then I was up all night and didn't want to risk napping it today. Kendra yawned. I'm trying not to think about it. It's making me yawn. Well, I had a good sleep after Olak got rid of me, so I should be able to go all night, Seth said. I agree, we need to free Grandma and Grandpa, but we also need to find the key and keep it away from Vanessa. We have to protect the artifact. For all we know, she might already have the key, Kendra said. She might even have the artifact. I doubt it. It will be hard getting past that Revenant. I mean, the thing just froze me with pure terror. There was nothing I could do. But maybe Kendra knows a trick. It can't be too easy for her, Kendra said. I think she sent you and Coulter to the Grove as an experiment. I'm not sure she knows what she's doing. Well, if she sent Coulter, she might send others, Seth said. She and that Christopher Vogel guy are here to get the artifacts. They're going to find a way if we don't stop them. And they may hurt everybody they captured in the process. You think we should go spy on them? Right away. While we still have light, we don't have time to waste. Kendra nodded. Okay, you're right. She stood and put a hand on Warren's shoulder. We're going to the house, Warren. We'll be back. He smiled up at her blankly. I know some of these potions, Seth said, indicating the potions on the table. Do you know what emotions are which? Kendra asked. I'm pretty sure, he said. And I know one of these turns you small, like under a foot high. And this is one of the antidotes for most poisons. And this one makes you resistant to fire. Or was it this one? Do you know which one is fear? Kendra asked. That one might come in handy. This one is fear, Seth said, picking up one of the bottles. But we should bring all of them. He began placing the potions in the pouch. Oh, and this jar has something important. Seth unscrewed the lid of the small jar. He dipped his finger in and withdrew a pale yellowish paste on it. He sucked the paste off his fingertip. What was that? Kendra asked. Walrus butter, Seth said. From a walrus on the preserve in Greenland. Works like the milk. It's what Tamu uses out in the field. Hopefully, they haven't found the key yet, Kendra said. Grandpa hid it in a new place. Of course, we might not be able to find it there either. We'll figure something out, Seth said. We can't really plan until we check on what's going on. I should be able to use the glove to get a good look. Kendra walked to the door, opened it, and spoke to the giant puppet. And Dingo, obey all instructions Seth gives you as if I were giving them to you. She turned back to Seth. You ready? Just a second, Seth said, carefully placing the final potions into the pouch. He kept the fear potion in his hand. I lost my emergency kit, but gained a bag of magical potions and an invisibility glove. That's a pretty good trade. They went outside. Mandingo, Kendra said, carry Seth and me to the yard as fast as you comfortably can, trying not to let us be seen or heard. The wooden puppet slung Seth over one shoulder and Kendra over the other. Showing no signs of strain, Mendigo trotted briskly down the path away from the cottage. Crouching and choosing their steps very carefully, Kendra and Seth approached the yard. Mendigo waited several paces behind them, with no orders to retrieve them and retreat to the cottage if they called. Kendra had tried to send him out into the yard, but he had been unable to set foot on the grass. The same barrier that had kept Olaf out of the yard was in full effect on the lumberjack as well. Seth squatted behind a leafy shrub near the edge of the woods. Kendra settled in beside him. "Look on the porch," he whispered. Kendra raised her head to peek over the shrub, but Seth pulled her down. "Look through the bush," he hissed. She leaned back until she found a gap that let her see the porch. "Imps," she whispered. "2 of them," Seth said. "The big kind. How could they get in the yard?" "Yeah, that big imp looks like the imp from the dungeon," Kendra said. "I'll bet they were both prisoners. They didn't enter the yard from the woods. They came up out of the basement." "We've seen what they can do," Seth said, backing away from the shrub. "Imps are tough. We can't risk them spotting us." Kendra retreated with Seth back to where Mendigo stood waiting. The shadows were long as the sun dipped towards the horizon. "How do we get past them?" Kendra said. "I don't know," Seth said. "They're fast and strong." He put on the glove and vanished. "I'll go in for a closer look." "No, Seth, they're on the lookout. They'll spot you. You can't hold still and run away at the same time." "What, so we give up?" "No. Take the glove off." She didn't like talking to his disembodied voice. Seth reappeared. "I'm not sure we have many options. It's front door, back door, or a window." "There's another way in," Kendra said, "and we might be able to use it." "What way?" "The brownie doors. They lead into the dungeon." Seth frowned pensively. "But how would we—" "Wait a minute. The potions!" "Yeah, we could shrink ourselves." "Kendra, this is the best idea you've ever had," Seth said. "But there's a problem," she said, folding her arms. "We don't know where the brownies enter. We know that they pass through the dungeon and into the kitchen, but we don't know where to start right now." "My turn," Seth said. "Let's go ask the satyrs." "Think they'll help us?" Seth shrugged. "I have something they want." "Do you know how to find them?" "We could try to find the tennis court. If that place fails, there's a place where I leave them messages." "I wonder if the fairies would tell me," Kendra said. "Yeah, if you can get any to speak to you," Seth said. "Come on. If we hurry, we can get there before sundown. It isn't far." "They really built a tennis court?" "Yeah, it's a nice one. You'll see." Seth ordered Mendigo to pick them up and then guided the lumberjack around the perimeter of the yard to the path that would lead them to the tennis court. Mendigo jogged down the path, hooks jingling. As they neared the court, they could hear arguing. Oh, that's a pretty good sign that they're there. Should we see? Like that, can you see? They're playing tennis. Oh, they're there. "I'm telling you, it's too dark. We have to call the game," one voice said. "And you said that makes it a draw," the other voice replied incredulously. "That's the only fair conclusion. I'm up 6-2, 6-3, 5-1, and it's my serve. Doran, you have to win 3 full sets to make the match. Count your blessings. I was getting ready to make my move. The sun isn't even down. It's below the trees. I can't see the ball in these shadows, and you played some solid games. I'll grant that you had a fair chance of winning had we continued, but sadly nature has intervened." Mendigo left the path at Seth's prompting and started through the undergrowth towards the hidden court. "Can't we start again tomorrow with the same score?" the second voice tried. "Unfortunately, tennis is a game of inertia. Restarting cold wouldn't be fair to either of us. Tell you what, we'll begin earlier tomorrow so we can get a full match in. And I suppose you're behind and you can find a cloud somewhere in the sky. You'll say there's a chance of showers and you'll call the game. I'm serving. You're welcome to return it, or you're welcome to just stand there." Mendigo pushed through the bushes at the edge of the tennis court. Doran stood waiting to serve. The racket he had broken while swatting Olaf had been beautifully mended and restrung. Newell stood at the net. "Hello," Newell said. "Look, Doran, we have visitors. Kendra, Seth, and Muriel's weirdo puppets." "Would you kids mind if I served one last time?" Doran asked. "Of course they'd mind," Newell shouted. "Terribly rude of you to ask." "Wow, we're in sort of a hurry," Kendra said. "We'll make it quick," Doran said with a wink. "In this blackness, one game could be all it takes to cause a serious injury," Newell insisted desperately. He was trying to get out of playing the game because he's losing. "It isn't very dark," Seth observed. "Line judge says we should play on," Doran said. Newell shook his fist at Seth. "Okay, one last game. Winner takes all." "Sounds good to me," Doran said. "That isn't fair," Kendra mumbled. No problem, Doran said. He hasn't broken my serve all day. Enough chit-chat, Newell called grumpily. Doran tossed the ball and blasted it over the net. Newell returned the blistering serve with a limp lob, allowing Doran to rush forward and hit a winner at a vicious angle. Doran's next two serves were aces, and the fourth serve Newell returned briskly, but after a fierce volley, Doran took the point with a wicked slice that died before Newell could even reach it. Game, set, match, Doran trumpeted. Growling, Newell ran over to the shed and started bashing his racket against the wall. The frame cracked and several strings popped. Boo! Seth cried. Poor sportsmanship. Newell stopped and looked up. Has nothing to do with sportsmanship. Ever since the Brownies mended this racket, his shots have more zip. I just want to level the playing field. I want them to mend my racket. I don't know, Newell, Doran said, tossing his racket and catching it. Takes quite a satyr to handle a racket of this caliber. Relish the moment, Newell said. Next time we'll be playing under the light of day, and we'll have comparable equipment. Funny you guys should mention the Brownies, Seth said. We need a favor. Does the favor involve demons trashing our shed? Newell asked. I took care of all that, Seth said. We need to know how the Brownies get into the house. Through the little doors, Doran said. He means we need to know where their entrance is so that we get in through the little doors, Kendra clarified. No offense, but it might be a bit of a squeeze, Newell said. We have potions to shrink ourselves down, Seth said. Ah, resourceful kids, Doran commented. Newell studied them shrewdly. Why would you want to get into the house that way? There may be barriers to prevent you. And who says the Brownies will grant you access? They keep to themselves. We have to sneak inside, Kendra explained. Vanessa is a narcoleptic. She drugged my grandparents and took over the house, and she will probably try to destroy Fablehaven next. Wait a minute, Doran said. Vanessa? As in smoking hot Vanessa? As in betrayed us all, Vanessa, Kendra said. I'm not sure how the Brownies would feel about us giving away their secret entrance, Newell said, rolling his tongue against his cheek and winking at Doran. True, Doran said, nodding sagely. We'd be violating a sacred trust. I wish we could help, Newell said, folding his hands, but a promise is a promise. How many batteries do you want? Seth asked. 16, Doran said. Deal, Seth said. Newell elbowed Doran. 24 is what he actually meant. We've already got a deal for 16, Seth said. We could make it less. Oh, fair enough, Newell said. He gave Seth a sly glance. I'm assuming you have the batteries on your person? They're in my room, Seth said. I see, Newell said, scowling dramatically. And suppose you get caught and you never make it back. We're out 16 batteries and we've broken our sacred promise to the Brownies. I could live with 16 up front. But with deferred payment, we're going to have to up our fee by 50%. Okay, 24, Seth said. I'll pay up as soon as I can. Newell grabbed Seth's hand and shook it vigorously. Congratulations, you've just found yourself a secret entrance. So seriously, Doran said, what's up with the puppets? Dusk was deepening when the satyrs Kendra, Seth, and Mendingo reached the driveway to the main house, not far from the front gates of Fablehaven. Kendra had seen a few twinkling fairies in the woods, but when she tried to get their attention, they darted away. Now I'd say it's getting dark, Doran said. Save it, Newell replied, kneeling beside a tree, pointing. Seth, you go straight, not more than 20 paces, and you'll find a tree with a reddish hue to the bark. At the base of the tree, between a fork and the roots, you'll see a good-sized hole. That is the entrance you're looking for. Don't blame me if they don't roll out the red carpet for you. And don't tell them we told you how to find them, Doran said. Be a pal, and leave this near the entrance, Newell said, handing Seth his freshly broken racket. Thanks, Kendra said. We'll take it from here. Unless you want to help us, Seth tried. Newell went, yeah, about that. We've got a thing. We promised some friends, Doran said. It's already been scheduled for a while. We've canceled twice. Next time, Doran promised. Yes, take care, Doran, Newell said. Don't get eaten by a brownie. The satyrs gambled away and passed out of sight. Why did you even ask? Kendra said. I didn't think it would hurt, Seth said. Come on. They rushed across the gravel driveway. The house was not in sight, so they felt relatively safe from Vanessa and her imps. Mendingo followed a few paces behind them. They continued in the directions that the satyrs had indicated. That must be it, Seth said, touching a tree with rosy bark. There's the hole. Good thing we found it before it was totally dark. Seth leaned the broken tennis racket against the tree. The hole looked big enough to get roll a bowling ball into. It fell away at a steep angle. Get the potions out, Kendra said. Seth rummaged in the pouch. He pulled out a pair of small vials. This should do the trick. You sure they're the right ones? Kendra verified. Yeah, they're the easiest to remember. The potion in the smallest bottle makes you small. Kath handed one of the vials to Kendra. She frowned at it. Her brow furrowed. Now what? She asked. Do you think our clothes will shrink too? She asked. Seth paused. I hope so. Yeah, what if they don't? Tanner said the potions leave him about 10 inches tall. So it would be what, around 7 or 8 inches? What could we wear? Tanner wraps handkerchiefs around some of his bottles, Kendra said. Seth scrabbled through the bag and removed 2 silk handkerchiefs. Ah, these should do. Hopefully, whoever made the potions took clothes into account, Kendra said. Yeah, should we sprinkle some on our clothes just to be safe, Seth said. We have 4 extra shrinking potions. Couldn't hurt, Kendra said. Seth dug out an extra vial of shrinking potions. At the same time, he said. Drink yours first, Kendra said. Seth unstuck the vial and downed the contents. Tingly, he said, his eyes widening. Really tingly. His clothes suddenly started looking very loose. He looked up at Kendra, craning his neck at his much taller sister. He sat down on the ground. His feet slipped easily out of his oversized shoes as his legs started to shorten. His head sank into his collar. The shrinking accelerated, and he seemed to disappear. Seth? Kendra said. I'm in here, answered a chipmunk version of his voice. Could you give me a hanky? Seth placed that small handkerchief into the shirt. A moment later, Seth emerged, the handkerchief wrapped around his waist like a towel, and he dragging behind him a bit. He looked up. Now you really are my big sister, he shouted. Sprinkle some on my clothes. Removing the stopper from another vial, Kendra sprinkled the contents over Seth's clothes. They waited, but there was no reaction. Looks like we'll have to save the day wearing handkerchiefs, Kendra said. They're nice and silky, Seth called. You're a nut, Kendra said. She turned to Mendingo. Mendingo, collect our clothes and our things and watch for us to come out of the house. When we come out, you need to hurry and meet up with us. Mendingo started tugging at her shirt. Mendingo, wait to collect my clothes until after I shrink, and then leave us with the handkerchiefs. Mendingo picked up Tanu's pouch and Seth's clothes. Hey, Seth cried. Let me see if I can carry the glove. Kendra retrieved the glove from the pocket of Seth's pants, telling Mendingo to leave the glove with them. She handed it to Seth. He draped it over his shoulder and started walking. It looked cumbersome. Is it too big? Kendra asked. I can handle it, Seth said. When we turn big, we'll be glad that we have it. Speaking of which, drink your potion and let's get going. I don't want to turn big and get crushed in the brownie hole. Kendra unstopped a third vial and drank it. Seth was right. It made her tingle. It felt like her limbs were on pins and needles, as if they'd all fallen asleep, and now was feeling that returning was most uncomfortable. As she shrank, the tingling sensation intensified. Whenever Seth knew her leg had been asleep, he always tried to poke the tingly limb. It drove her crazy. This was much worse, stinging tingles starting at her fingertips and toes and racing through her whole body. Before Kendra fully recognized what was happening, her shirt was all around her like a collapsing tent. She crawled to an opening through one of her sleeves. Close your eyes, Seth, she said, noticing how high and squeaky her voice sounded. They're closed, he said. I don't want nightmares. Kendra found the other handkerchief, turned it into a makeshift toga, and said, Okay, you can look. You know, Seth said, if we turn big while we're in the dungeon, we'll be trapped down there. Kendra walked over to one of the empty vials lying on the ground. Grunting and shoving, she tipped it upright. Relative to her new size, it was nearly as big as a garbage can. The glass is thick, Kendra said. I can barely move this empty one. Setting down the bulky glove, Seth tried to lift the bottle, and he could barely hold it off the ground. Too bad we can't bring a spare, he said. We'll just have to hurry. Mendingo, remember, watch for us and meet up with us when we come out. Mendingo now looked enormous, like some eerie monument. Seth slung the glove over his shoulder. Come on. Kendra looked up. Through the gaps in the branches above her, she saw stars coming out. She followed her brother down into the yawning hole. Oh, chapter 16, Brownie Doors. It's going to be good.